Hello class, this is Mr. Goodman, and this is lesson 3.2b, from standard to vertex form. So in this lesson here, we're going to be continuing with completing the square, and we did part 1, and that's all fine and dandy, but there's part 2, which is that what happens when we have a harder situation. So I actually gave you a whole whack of simple trinomials yesterday, or the last lesson, let's say. And what that means is that the a value here is a 1. So therefore, there were a few things that we didn't cover that we'll cover today, and that's it. If you get these few things, that's the extent of the lesson, and then there's a good amount of practice in terms of the homework. So just as a reminder, I find my new c value, there it is, and using this little formula, and I plug it in as both a positive and a negative. Why? Well, the two of them add up to 0, so you're not actually changing the balance of the equation. In the second step, I always remove the negative new c value. Again, why? Well, I explained in the previous video, but for now, just trust me, you always take the negative out. When you do that, it goes here. Now, this seems like a step you could skip because it seems a little pointless, but don't do that. Today, we're going to make use of that extra step. We're going to factor our trinomial. We have two identical binomials. That's a perfect square. We have completed the square. We're going to write them twice with a little square, and look at that. We have our vertex form. Okay. Next, we are going to now convert again from standard form to vertex form, except now we have a hard trinomial because, well, there is a value in front other than a 1. You've seen this in factoring as well, this concept of a simple versus a hard trinomial. First thing we do, and it's the first of 2 new steps, both of which are very easy to forget, and I've seen students make these mistakes many times. We are going to put brackets on the first 2 terms, and we're going to common factor whatever it takes to get the a value to equal 1. That means that we have to divide this by 3, and therefore when we divide this by 3, we have to divide this by 3. Now it's not a complete common factor because it's just 3. You might be tempted to factor 3x from here, because you could, but you're only common factoring the 3. Thus creating this situation. Now, our b value is 2. We're going to find our new c value using our formula, which is 1. We plug it in as both a positive and both a negative. Here's where that now extra step comes into play. We're going to take that negative out of the brackets and bring it down to the next line. However, as we bring it out, it has to pay a tax of being multiplied by 3 because of that 3 in front. So this negative 1, as it comes out, becomes negative 3. That's the second new thing in this lesson. And that's it for the new things. If you understood the previous lesson, that's it. I want to recap again. Bracketing off the first 2 terms, common factoring whatever it takes to get the a value to be 1. The second new thing is that when you bring out your negative new c value, you actually have to multiply it by whatever's in front of the brackets, whatever that a value is. And then it becomes, in this case, negative 3. That's negative 10. We common factor we factor our trinomial, which of course gives us a perfect square, and there we have the answer. And the difference between this answer and this answer, you can see, is that this one has an a value of 1, and this one has an a value of 3. A value is 3, h value is negative 1, k value is negative 10. And that's pretty much how you do it. If you get this, that's the new thing in today's lesson. All I'm going to do right now is extend ourselves to a situation that doesn't look so comfortable, but is completely doable. So bear with me a little bit here. The math gets a little annoying because there's fractions, but the concept stays consistent. If you find that this concept you're not so comfortable with it, you're kind of just hanging on, maybe you want to not actually pay attention to this part, and you want to move on to the homework, and not many examples will deal with this. Some will, but not many will. So here we have an a value that's actually a fraction. We're going to have to common factor this from the equation. What that means is we have to divide this by 1 over 5. 1 over 5 divided by 1 over 5 is 1, because it's the same thing. But we have to divide negative 4 by 1 over 5. So if you just come over here, negative 4 divided by 1 over 5 is the same thing as negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20. So that's why that negative 20 is there. That math can be a little bit tricky for some of you. If that's the case, just bear with me and let's now move forward with the same logic of what we did before. We now are going to take our C value, and our new C value is 100. We're going to put it in as both a positive and a negative, and of course we're taking the negative out, but as we take the negative out, we multiply it by 1 over 5. Thus creating negative 100 times 1 over 5 is negative 20. Negative 20 is negative 40. We factor this trinomial, perfect square, and there's our vertex form. A couple things to note which will be relevant in some of the homework, which is that if the vertex is 10 and negative 40, because this is positive, I know that we have a minimum here in our parabola. Because the a value is positive, we have a minimum in the parabola. And I know that minimum value is negative 40. That's how far down it goes. The vertex is telling me that information. Last example. I'm not going to go through the whole process, only to say that if you have a negative here, that is not a simple trinomial. You have to factor out the negative. And of course, there's a positive there as a result. Our new C value is going to be 4. For negative 4, we're taking out the negative 4, but as we take it out, it gets multiplied by negative 1 to become positive 4. And here is our vertex form equation. One thing I want to point out to you is the vertex is negative 2 and negative 3. Now because the a value is negative, I know it opens downwards, so I know it actually has a maximum. The other one had a minimum. There's the minimum there. This one has a maximum, and I know the maximum value is negative 3. Okay, in terms of the related work, I haven't fully decided on which questions I'm going to assign to you, other than to say it's going to come from 2 different sheets. One is here, the usual square suspects. Yes, I named this sheet myself. I'm very proud of it. I'll tell you in the description as to what questions I want you to do. And as well, I'm going to actually assign a couple from this sheet that you've already seen before. However, you weren't able previously to find how long it took for the ball to reach its maximum height. You weren't able to do that. Remember that all that means is that if I told you that the vertex is 3 and 20, this is the max height, and that's the time it took to get there. 3 seconds, and the max height is 20. So just keep that in mind when it's asking how long it takes to reach the maximum height, or what is the maximum height. One of them is asking for the h value, the other one's asking for the k value, and there's a couple of those there. And the reason I did that fraction one for you that was a little more difficult is that these aren't fractions, but this one is and this one is. These are essentially fractions. So those might be a little bit tough, and consider those the level 4 challenge questions. And I'll, again, assign that in the descriptions which ones you should do. Okay, you guys ready for the bonus feature? I got a really good one today. It was just coincidental that I was able to pull this one out. So here we go. Da, 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 da. And it's... Who is this?
Alec. I'm a new member for Daddy's school.
Yeah, you want to be in my class?
Yeah, and I'm going to do all my homework.
Oh, I didn't even tell you to say that. That's amazing that you said that. I like that you said that. Do you think math is fun?
Yeah, and about the rolling ball that you was talking about, I think you said speed.
Oh, I did. I was telling them about how a trajectory in a ball that travels through the air.
And Daddy.
Yes, Alec.
And I think that book is called David's Book.
Who's David? I'm Mr. Goodman.
You're David, because you're my daddy.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, thanks for joining me, Alec, and being so quiet and cooperative during this time. You did a really good job. You want to tell them how old you are?
I'm 5.
Yeah, you're 5.
I turned 5 in January 1/8.
Yeah, you did. Good job, Alec. He is a great helper.
Storyteller.
And a great storyteller. And he also plays soccer and basketball pretty well.
Yeah. And sometimes they even beat Daddy. But all the time I beat Daddy in basketball.
Well, I don't know about that. You said all the time? Sometimes. Sometimes.
But remember when I get more scores? And remember when you do it low and then you try to shove from far away and then I grabbed it first?
I try to forget the times I was beat by a 5-year-old. It still hurts. Okay, Alec. That's it. I think this is enough of a bonus feature. All right. Yeah, you got more?
And sometimes I even beat Daddy at soccer because the first time when Daddy said I can't be a goalie, I didn't score the first time, but the second time I scored in the net.
That's right. You're really good at soccer and being a goalie. Okay, that's it. That's Mr. Goodman and
Alex!
signing off.